Welcome back to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, CEO of academia.edu, and today we're going somewhere pretty bold. Yeah, maybe even a bit provocative. We're diving into fascinating research from Suresh Soni titled A Religionless World. Just hearing the title kind of gets your imagination turning, doesn't it? Now, before we go any further, let me give my little standard reminder. My role here is to neutrally present Soni's ideas, not to endorse them. Think of me as your friendly guide through this academic landscape. So what's at the heart of this paper? The big burning question is, can humanity move beyond organized religion? Like, is it possible or even desirable for us as a species to create a thriving... According to Soni, religion, while once a force for unity, meaning, and ethical structure, is increasingly driving division, intolerance, and even global conflict. Think terrorism, fanaticism, all that stuff making headlines. The paper really tries to separate religious beliefs from spiritual realities, arguing that while religion has become rigid and sometimes, let's be honest, pretty commercialized or even political, spirituality is something every person can experience directly. It's not about dogma or, which book you read or which rituals you do, but rather about connecting to your own consciousness, living ethically, being compassionate, finding happiness and oneness. Soni suggests that these spiritual values could, maybe should, replace religious systems as the shared foundation of society. How does he build this argument? First, he spends a lot of words, seriously, a lot, laying out the idea that humanity has entered this kind of crisis moment. Religions, he claims, are causing more harm than good by dividing people, justifying violence, stifling critical thought, and, creating identities that people cling to all their lives, sometimes without ever questioning where those identities came from. Like, have you ever stopped to wonder, am I following a set of beliefs because they're true, or just because that's what my parents or culture handed me? Anyway, Soni says that getting stuck in inherited faith is actually preventing us from reaching our full human potential. And here comes the twist. It's not about tossing all meaning, morality, or wonder out the window. Soni believes that spirituality, not tied to any institution or figure, can provide a real lived sense of purpose, meaning, and connection without the baggage of, let's say, clerical power, hierarchy, or superstition. He emphasizes personal experience and self-study, not mediation through priests, gurus, or texts. You become your own guide. For him, nature becomes your temple. Surrendering your ego becomes your prayer, and living in harmony with other humans and the laws of nature becomes your core ethic. The methods here aren't experimental or statistical. This isn't a social science study with a bunch of numbers. It's a philosophical proposal shaped by personal narrative, historical reflection, and an appeal to contemporary global issues. Terrorism, polarization, cultural stagnation. The findings come more as bold, suggested next steps. Initiate a worldwide public debate about the role of religion, promote legal reforms to keep religion in the personal, not public sphere, and emphasize spiritual self-effort over religious conformity. So what does this all actually mean for you? Listening on your morning commute, or maybe running on a treadmill, or folding laundry in your kitchen. Soni isn't just theorizing about how the world could change in some distant future. He's asking people to reflect, to question, to look within. If you've ever felt disillusioned by the way religion is wielded in politics or public life, or just wondered why we keep repeating the same conflicts, maybe there's something here that resonates. Maybe you'll start thinking about spirituality as something that's yours to define, not something someone else hands you. And honestly, the paper doesn't pretend this is an easy or one-size-fits-all journey. Soni admits people are creatures of habit. Change is hard, and even spirituality as an answer will one day be replaced by something new, because change is the only constant. I don't know, I find that a little humbling and actually kind of hopeful, don't you? I promised a digression, right? So, earlier when Soni mentions how spirituality can be self-driven, done without books, rituals, or intermediaries, made me remember a time I tried to meditate in the middle of a noisy London cafe, thinking, this will be my spiritual revolution. Let's just say inner peace was slightly overpowered by the coffee grinder. It's hard to detach from daily life, but also, maybe that's the real point. Spirituality isn't about escaping reality, but about truly meeting it. To wrap up, Sonny's A Religionless World asks us to reflect deeply on how old structures might be failing us, to imagine new forms of meaning grounded in universal ethics, reason, and compassion, not just belief. It's not absolute truth, not an easy fix, but a provocative question. Could our next step be a world where our shared humanity, not our religious differences, define us, whether you find that inspiring or unsettling? Hey, that's the power of academic inquiry. I'm not here to say Sony is right or wrong, only that the conversation, the curiosity, the reflection, that's where real growth happens. Thanks for being with me on In Depth with Academia. If you've got thoughts, questions, or just want to muse about your own spiritual journey, you know where to reach me. Until next time, keep asking big questions, and I'll see you soon.